Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। कटाक्षकिरणाचान्त
कटाक्षकिरणाचान्त
नमन्मोहाब्धये नमः।
नमन्मोहाब्धये नमः।
अनन्तानन्दकृष्णाय
अनन्तानन्दकृष्णाय
जगन्मङ्गलमूर्तये
जगन्मङ्गलमूर्तये।
The last class, we had some discussions on the Avastatraya. And the question was, and I didn't quite understand what he was trying to aim at, how do we know about the Atma's presence in the Sushupti Avastha? Because all our knowing faculties are not available to us, unmanifest. And then we had some discussions on that, on how this is to be understood. If anybody has any other observations on that, we can discuss that also. I hope, Divyansh, you have answer to your question.
Not exactly.
Still not very clear. Okay, any other observations, anybody? I'm sure Swamiji will talk further about this Sushupti Sthanam and how things are.
Swamiji, I have a question.
Sure.
Sir, the three avasthas, that is Jagrada Avastha, Swapnavasthas and Sushupti, we call in East Avastha, Jivatma name is Vishwan, Taijasan and Pragyan. And I think I have read that Mandukya Upanishad, Turiyam is the fourth stage. That though it is called as fourth stage, actually it is not a fourth stage. That Turiyam is present throughout the three stages, three avasthas. That is the reason for us to say that I had a nice sleep. My sleep was very sound like that. Is it because of the Turiya we are referring?
Correct. Turiya is the Atma. Yeah. It is another name for Atma only. And we will see these three names are given for Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha and Sushupti Avastha. We will see that also. I'm sure somebody will cover that also. Sometimes, I don't know if you've seen, some people will be watching TV, sitting on the sofa, and they will go to sleep. They will be in deep sleep. When they wake up, when the wife comes and says, hey, get up, go to sleep in the bed, they realize that abhava, they know that I was watching TV and then I stopped watching TV. I stopped understanding what's happening in TV. That is the transition that we were discussing yesterday in the last class. That last stage when the abhava is recognized. And then when you wake up again, that abhava is still there. While these are very good discussions, and I'm not going to discourage any of these discussions, that is not the tatparya that Swamiji was trying to talk about. These are good because any doubt in the mind needs to be cleared. Therefore, it's good to have these discussions. But Swamiji's, what he was trying to say in that, and I'm sure he'll continue to say this in the further paragraphs, is that the waker is different from the sleeper, is different from the dreamer. And when the waker is there, you cannot have the sleeper, you cannot have the dreamer. Similarly, when the dreamer is there, you can neither have the sleeper nor the waker. And the third also, when you're sleeping, there's neither dreamer nor waker available. The point that he was trying to make was, since they are mutually exclusive states, what connects them? How do you recognize that I'm a waker now? How do you recognize I'm a sleeper now and the dreamer now? And the point we were discussing is, how do you recognize when I'm a sleeper now? That I that is common across all of them, that I is what Swamiji is trying to point out, that there is this I, which is the Atma, nothing to do with the body-mind sense complex, which are related to the waker, dreamer, sleeper. That is all that he was trying to point out. But in the process, we're trying to understand each of these three states and how do you even recognize that I was awake or I was asleep or I was dreaming. That is what we were discussing. We will continue to discuss that further. If anybody has any other thoughts on that, we will discuss that. There'll be more on that, I'm sure. Yes, Divansh.
Swamiji, I think like one more thing that we were discussing was that Atma is Nitya. And because we say that the Turiya goes through all these three states. So we can say that in our normal life, we can say that there is a continuity, right? So, but from like it's just we are saying that from birth of that person till the death of that person, there is a continuity. But what, how do we say that Atma like uh, remains after that as well?
We've been studying all that in Kathopanishad, no? That was Nachiketa's question.
Yes.
See, the what? This Sharira may go. And therefore, all that is with the Sharira will also go. But to justify that a child is born in different ways, different states, to different parents, born physically handicapped, mentally handicapped, very healthy. Some are born very well-built, with a lot of hair. Some are born without all that. Some are born dark. Some are born... Certain characteristics are built in even though the child is born. How do you justify that? How do you explain that? What makes the difference? Why were you born to your particular parents at that particular time in that particular situation? Something has to dictate that. There is nothing without a cause. What is that something that dictates it? So if there is something which dictates it, which connects you to this Janma to other Janma, what is the connection? So this is only one way of looking. There are many different ways you can study this and understand how it is the same that repeats. And that same that repeats is not different same. It is the same one single Ekameva, Advaita Atma. That is what we're trying to study and understand. We will study this further. If there are any further clarification required, we'll open it for discussion. Unless somebody else has some of the points to make in this.
Swamiji, just related to that last question. So let's maybe take an example of a light bulb or tube light, which works for some time. Like while you maybe keep it on, at some point in time, the fuse goes off or it gets repaired or the capacitor does not work. and the bulb does not glow anymore.
Okay.
But
Already this is current day example. The capacitor does not work. In my childhood, we didn't have anything called a capacitor. The only way it didn't break was the filament would go.
yes, so
Yeah, carry on.
once you see that the light does not glow, it does not mean that there's no electricity at all in it, right? So
Sure.
the electricity is always there. So as long as the switch is on, the electricity is there. Whether the fuse is not, whether the fuse has gone or not, the electricity is still there. So in the example of Avastatraya, that what we are trying to infer or arrive at is what we experience as waking, sleep, or dream is all belonging to this body. So the Turiya that we say is the underlying electricity because of which all these three states of experience is possible. So when you say the body is dead, which means that these three states of experience is not available anymore. But that does not negate the fact that the Turiya is always there. Right? So the underlying Adhisthana is always, the Atma is always there, upon which these experiences for a limited period of time is coming and going. Just like the different examples that we say that okay, this body is like a cloth that we use for a limited period of time and we throw it away, right? So during that limited period of time, these experiences are there, and during this experience of life or this body that we go through, we can use the experience of sleep, dream, and waking to arrive at the fact that I am none of these, right? So yeah.
Good, good. All these examples are examples in the sense that the only example we can talk about other than a dream and waking reality is that they all belong to the same order of reality. So when we take this example, we should keep that in mind when we understand the example. Good. Any other observations? Okay. Shall we continue? Where did we leave it off in the last class?
Page 36, Swamiji.
Hmm?
Page 36, second paragraph.
36 we've gone to. Oh. You've done all this. We ask, how do you know that? How do you know that Atma is in sleep different? Okay. We read all this, right?
Yes, Swamiji. Yes. Until
Okay.
36 second paragraph.
Take this paragraph. Okay, right. So we've gone to the word Sada. Who will read? No volunteers?
Jagdishan.
I shall
Okay,
read.
please.
No.
Shall I, Swamiji?
Yes, please do. Yeah, who said Jagdish is saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Then again, Sada Aham Asmi means that whatever I experience, that experience does not displace me. The experience gets displaced. The very beauty of it is that the experience gets displaced. When I see a pot, then I am there very much. And when the pot is gone and I see some other object, the chair, then the chair is the object displacing the pot. Therefore, the objects always get displaced. Displaced means one is substituted by the other object. Therefore, if you take Sabda and if you take Sparsha, if you take Rupa, Rasa, Ganda, any one of them, they displace each other. There again, one Ganda is different from another Ganda. So in each Jati itself, there are variations. One jati, Shabda Jati, if you take, there are variations. Rupa Jati, if you take, there are variations in Rupa. within the jati, one object replaces the other object. Then there is vijati also. One jati like Shabda is replaced by another jati like Rupa. This is vijati. Like this, one jati itself is displaced by another jati. From this, we understand that the whole Jagat that I experience is variable. It keeps on changing.
Can we call the three avasthas also three jatis? Each one replacing the other.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're awake and then you fall asleep. It has replaced the waker.
Correct.
And then you go into a dream. The dreamer has replaced the sleeper. So the example still continues in the same thing. Yeah.
Swamiji, I think in the previous explanation, or it also answers the Divyansha's question again, in the sense that any object that I experience is getting replaced. And if I extend that, my body is also is something that I experience. So my body is also replaced. Mind is also something that I experience. Thoughts are also something that I experience. Therefore, when one body is gone, there is another body, which is again subject to my experience. So the experience gets displaced or replaced.
Experience, the object is replaced, right?
Swamiji, is it the vritti or the thoughts which...
The thought, if you say what thought, that gets replaced. Thought remains. It gets replaced with chair thought.
The new thought comes, replaces the old thought, right?
Yeah. But there is the subject which experiences all that, no?
Yeah.
That remains
And
unchanged.
same, the I is. Correct. Okay. Am I also variable like the objects? Do I also get displaced at any time? No. Whenever I see something, I am there, very much there, irrespective of what I see. I am there, irrespective of what I hear. I am definitely there. And irrespective of what I taste, what I smell, what I see, etc., I am there. When I think I am there, and even when I don't think I am there, I am still there. So when I sleep, I am there. Even when I don't sleep, I am still there. Therefore, Aham, the Atma, is invariable, changeless, Nityam. It's called Anvaya. This Anvaya or the Atma, we should understand. That's all the contemplation, Anvaya of the Atma. Atma Anvaya is a very important piece of contemplation. This Atma Anvaya is always there, no matter what changes. This Anvaya is invariable, changeless. Invariability is the Anvaya. That invariability is there only with respect to Atma and nowhere else. The whole Jagat, the invariability is only of the Atma. Think about it. You may say Ajnanam is invariable. No, it is variable. That also goes away in the wake of knowledge. So it is variable. And therefore, you can't say Ajnanam is also invariable. Nothing else is invariable excepting Atma. Therefore, the presence of Atma being there in all the variables, Sada Aham Asmi.
Yeah. Even Ajnanam, how do you recognize Ajnanam? And you can recognize Ajnanam at different levels, isn't it? You can recognize Ajnanam of a specific object, of any object. That Ajnanam can go, but some other object Ajnanam can remain. When we saw in Digdrishya Viveka, what is Drishya is always variable with respect to the Drik.
Yeah.
The Drik has to be invariable, otherwise you can't see the variation in the Drishya.
Dirk is the witness, should we say?
They just don't know. If you don't know, then there is nothing. It's only because our problem is we know partially. If we don't know at all, then we'll continue with whatever life has. But that I exist, I know, and everybody knows. And because I know that, there is partial jnanam. That's what is called samanya jnanam. What I don't have is the vishesha jnanam. That is what causes the problem. Ajnanam is also totally variable. It can also go. It is also badhita.
When jnanam comes, it will go.
It will go. And like I said, if you take the examples of anything in the Jagat, it can be ajnanam of anything that can go. And some other ajnanam will remain. Yeah.
What does sada mean? Sada, the word is kala vachaka, a word that indicates time. Sada aham asmi means I always am. Sada is always. When you say sada, what meaning do you get in your mind? What is construed by the word sada? Sada means in the past, in the present, and in the future. In all three dimensions. What is the length of the time for the sada? Suppose you say this person is eating sada. What does it mean when you say sada eating? It's not that sada. The whole day he is eating, and day after day he is eating. Or if one says sada he is sleeping, does it mean he is always sleeping? No, these expressions are all apekshika. Apekshika. Relative ones. If someone says sada always, I'll be in heaven. The first thing is, it is not sada because you are using a future tense. I will be. Therefore, your sada implies a beginning. Your sada has not yet begun. Sada, you are dreaming. That's all. You are dreaming that you will be in heaven. Sada, but the heaven has not yet begun. And therefore, it is not sada. What is sada? It means always. Think about a time when the sada began. If you have a concept of a beginning of a sada, then it is not sada. If you are thinking of a termination of the time implied in sada, again it is not sada. So it has a beginning. If it has a beginning, it is not sada. If it has got a termination, an end, it is again not sada. Therefore, what is sada? It doesn't imply a length of time. This length of time is always put together. Understand? Every length of time is put together, added like a line. So one length is added to another length and thereby becomes a longer length, longer chain as it were. Like 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, add up to 60 seconds, making a minute. Minutes add up to 60 minutes, making an hour. And then so many hours add up to a day. And so many days to a week. And so many weeks make a month. And so many months make a year. And then so many years make a century. Yuga, etc. We can go on and on. So a given length of time depends upon other lengths of time. All add up. Therefore, by adding up, you are just creating a new length. It's purely how you think. Otherwise, it has no vyavastha. Length of time has no vyavastha. No vyavastha means the word time does not imply a specific length. What is the length of time? 1 century is a length of time. 1 yuga is a length of time. 1 kalpa is also a length of time. All these are lengths of time. A moment means whatever that moment is in your own concept. That's also a length of time. It is so abstract. There is no specific length involved in time. Therefore, every length of time is how you look at it. So your way of looking at it determines the length of time. You thus decide what is the length of time that you are talking about. Therefore, basically, we have this problem. We think ourselves into a length of time, which means that you seem to decide what a length of time should be. Therefore, time itself doesn't have any specific length as such. And every length of time that you take as a unit, it again consists of further units of time. Now, what is Sada? When you say Sada, it should not involve a length of time. Any length of time begins and ends. A given length has a beginning and an end point, a termination. Therefore, Sada cannot imply any length of time. It does not imply any length of time. That Sada is only now. Sada is now means that which is the Adhisthana of Kala itself. You have to understand this very well. You can very easily gloss over this. Therefore, every length of time is nothing but Sad Adhishtanam. In fact, Sarvam Sad Adhishtanam. Everything is Sad Adhishtanam. Anything is because it has an Adhisthana.
What is Sad Adhishtanam?
That always is.
Sorry?
That always is Satvastu.
Yeah, that Adhishtanam, which is Sat, which is the only thing that exists. Sad Adhishtanam.
That is Brahman.
Yeah. Yes, Shobha.
So is this another way of saying that time itself depends, does not have an independent existence, it depends on Brahman?
Absolutely. Time is also relative. You know, this time and space are more difficult to understand than any other thing. Other things we can perhaps conceive of, saying that any object on this earth, in this Jagat, can be seen to be not self-existing, but dependent on something else. That's something else we call Atma, Brahman, whatever. But our entire concepts are built on a stable, absolute time and absolute space. What Shastra is trying to tell us is that itself is questionable. When you create a Jagat, the example that I like is when somebody dreams, you create an entire Jagat. Correct? Everything is there. Everything that no one's waking is there in that also, including time. You create Swapna time. Now, it's been established that typically a dream lasts for 2 to 3 waking seconds. That's all. And what is the time in the dream state? Could be anything. Could be weeks, months. So you created a time scale which is different from what time scale we experience in waking hours. It cannot be absolute. In fact, the other way of looking at time and space, it's easier to look at space and then apply the same thing to time. The space that we know is three-dimensional, right? And what is three-dimensional? A whole lot of planes, two-dimensional planes put together. Correct? And what is a plane? Whole lot of single-dimensional lines put together is a plane. And what is a line? A whole lot of points put together. And what is a point? No dimension. No space. So the whole space that we are talking about is itself based on a point which itself, whose existence itself is under question. Same thing with now. For example, he's saying everything is only now. What is now? Now also has to be a length of time. You can make it very small. You go to subatomic distances, you get nanoseconds and things like that. Or you can go to cosmic time, you can go into kalpas. But it's always a length of time. So if you look at it that way, then what is now? There is no now. Why? We define it the way we want it for our convenience. I define time as today because that for the purpose of which I'm trying to use it, it becomes convenient. So that time and space are both karya, relative objects, dependent on Brahman, is something we have to understand. That's why Swamiji has gone to some length and discussions on this. On what is time, what is sada. That's why when we try to understand, this is one step beyond basic understanding of saying that which exists in all three areas of time, past, present, and future, we think of as permanent, sada. But there is no such thing. That which is trikala atitaha is the only permanent, only thing which can be called as sada, nitya.
Or what we call timeless.
I'm sorry, yeah?
Or what we call time. It's not even timeless.
Not even timeless. It is what is the basis, adhisthana for time itself.
Yeah.
Yes, Divyansh.
Swamiji, can you please explain this line? If it does not imply any length of time, that sada is only now. Like, how do we get here?
Okay, I'm going to ask others to respond to that. There's a line here which says, when we say sada, it should not involve length of time. Any length of time has a beginning and an end. Where is it? Where is that line he was quoting? If it does not imply any length of time, sada is only now. Whatever your definition of now is, that is also length of time. But for purpose of our rudimentary understanding, we say there is past, there is future, and there is now. And for our own purposes, we define that now as the basis for past and future. So Swami's statement here, therefore, sada cannot imply any length of time. If it does not imply any length of time, that sada is only now. This is also, we should understand in some depth, because even now is, sada is now means that which is adhisthana, only bring in only that from that perspective. Now, as we understand it, is the basis for past, is the basis for future. The adhisthana for now is also only Brahman. Anybody else want to talk about this one particular sentence?
The only thing which is permanently available is adhisthana, the Brahman. Everything else is mithya.
Our problem is this use of words. We use words like that which exists in all three times, that which is permanent. So the moment we use permanent, we are talking about reference to time. So we have to try and, there's no way of expressing it. You only have to understand the concept. The concept is there is only one adhishthanam on which time depends, on which space depends. Whichever way you define it.
Swamiji, so we were talking about length of time. When we say that now is the adhisthana for time, we are here saying about future and past depends on now.
Correct.
Right. But how does length of time depends on
Now
now.
also does it exist on its own? How does the now exist? Where is now?
The
It is
moment we
only
say now,
it is
Swamiji, that now
only
has also gone.
Mithya. Ashok, you want to say something?
No, Ratnam here, Swamiji. The
No,
moment we,
Ratnam, yeah. The whole thing keeps sweeping. You were in
yeah,
this
yeah.
part, suddenly you moved up.
Because I unmuted, I moved up.
Okay.
Swamiji, because when you say the moment I'm uttering the word now, the now has already gone. That it has already passed few microseconds. So that now
That is
also has
why,
gone into past.
absolutely. That this is something to think about, What is now? But for our practical purpose, we define now for different purposes differently.
It's relative. Basically, it is relative.
That is, of course, relative.
Even the second which we are talking about is actually calibrated with that atomic clock by the number of
Also,
pulses
this
it goes. So
time length
otherwise,
only, Yeah.
it is
Atomic
relative.
clock is a bit more accurate, but still length of time.
So how is, like, which now are we talking that is the adhisthana of time? I'm asking that.
No. They get at two levels. Now is the Adhisthana for past and future.
Sure.
The Adhisthana for now also is only Brahman. So when
Where
Swami
did we say that?
uses, you read the next sentence also, no?
Swami, Swamiji,
Yeah.
one point which comes to my mind is that the time of length of time is maybe we can consider it as a line segment, and the sada is basically a line, which is nothing.
So again, say that again. Length segment is
Time of, it is mathematically I'm trying to put it. So it is a time of length of time is something like a line segment. We
okay.
just got a fixed. Wherever we want, we can choose.
Okay.
And something like a sada means it's a line. We just got an extension on both sides. Whichever point you take.
Even okay, it's good for understanding, but even that is incomplete because what we are
Yes.
talking about is not
Beyond time.
extending here. We're talking about that which is the basis for all that also.
Adhisthana.
Yeah, Adhisthana is the only word. See, the next sentence it says, Sada cannot imply anything. It doesn't imply length of time. The Sada is only now. Sada is now means that which is the Adhisthana of Kala itself. Sada is the word Sada he is trying to explain. Sada aham asmi. That only way that is possible is it never arises. It is never born. That's the only way you'll get the meaning of the word Sada. It is
Never
not
born, never
time.
dies.
Never dies also.
No, sorry. We are saying that Sada is now, right? And we say that the normal now that we talk about is also relative. Um, but how is that now is Adhisthana of Kala itself?
I think,
is, yeah.
Divyansh, you be in the context. The sentence before that, Swamiji has concluded, a given length has a beginning and a termination. You have understood up to that, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is the next sentence? Therefore, sada cannot imply any length of time.
Yes.
That also is clear. So, something that is not having a length of time, normally we say now, the present. So he's just trying to take us through the whole process. So don't take sada is only now as a definition of sada. No. He is trying to clearly negate everything. So first he negated that anything that has got a length of time or a beginning and a termination, that is not sada. Then what is sada? Then you might conclude that sada is only now. But then he is cautioning us, sada is now means that is the adhisthana of time itself. So don't again hang on to that now. He is just trying to come to that point that sada means it is the adhisthana of time. Unlike
Okay.
a normal parlance, when we say sada or always, we refer to some time frame in mind. It is always there, all my lifetime or all something, right? So it is not that, it is the adhisthana in which the time is there. That is sada.
I would like others also to pitch in and give their observation, their understanding.
It is
Okay, so
not that
Sada
at
is not
all
now.
times, no, Swamiji. It
Come
is
again?
not that at all times.
It is not
Sada.
what?
At all times.
Correct. It is not at all times. Correct.
No,
It is
Sada is
the
at all times
adhisthana
and
in which
beyond
all
time.
times exist.
It is at all times, but now. And in that line of all times also, that now will come, it is that now.
Interestingly, that now will always be there, no?
Yes.
What is now today will become yesterday, past for tomorrow. And what was now yesterday will become future for today. Now itself has a question of is a question of dependent existence only.
So it's another way of saying it just is.
Is it? That's it. That's the only way you can. It is existence, isness. That's the way to understand this.
See, the now is also a relative term. Basically, you have to understand the theory of relativity. Na? That now is again a relative term. So he's trying to eliminate everything and come to that. This now is now. Again, the moment I'm like I just now said, the moment I say now, now is gone.
Gone.
So now
I'm
is
saying
also
now
negated,
the
right?
now is gone. So which now
Correct.
I'm
Now
talking
is
about?
also negated, and conclusion is sada is the adhisthana,
Adhisthana.
substratum of
For
time.
even now, sada is also the now is
Okay.
the adhisthana for now is also sada.
Okay. ठीक है.
I think maybe Divyansh, to look at it the other way, the common understanding of R now is still a length of time. But what Sada implies is like if you consider a length of time from like past 5 minutes to next 5 minutes, what is there throughout that, like what was there before 5 minutes, what is there within our understanding of the usage of the word now, and what is going to be there after 5 minutes, right? So that existence which is going to continue throughout this length of the time within our limited understanding, like we call that as like okay, now 5 minutes back, now and then now for the future, right? So that which is there in and through that time, or the time which is traveling through that, is what we call as sada, right? So now is just a word which is used for our understanding of sada, but sada is there within, like the time is always, the sada word is always there, right? So the word now, because we use it for our common understanding of a very short length of time, we confuse it with it. But the implication of that word now is what was there 5 minutes back, what is there at this point in time, and what is going to be there in the future, which is nothing but which is nothing but that aham. Because you are able to say 5 minutes back, you are able to say now, and you are able to say future, is possible only in your presence, right? In your presence that is taking place, and that very presence is what is referred to as sada.
I just read the next sentence, the next paragraph. I think it's going to be even more interesting. And any length of time itself is dependent upon the observer. Now look at that. Let's read that.
Maybe can I just add to this here, Swamiji?
Sure.
Probably like, if we draw a circle and stand in the center point of the circle and turn to any direction of the circle and say this is now. So which does not have a beginning or an end, and plot any point as now. So it depends on the person who's standing in the center, which direction are we facing.
I think that's
All
what
20
Swami is
of
going
us
to be
can face any
addressing.
direction. Uh-huh.
I think that's what's going to address in the next paragraph. What you're saying
Yeah.
just now. Let's read that.
So any length of time is itself dependent upon the observer. The observer is drashta.
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 drashta. And drashta is Chaitanya, pure consciousness.
It's
And
drashta,
therefore,
Swamiji. Here in the book, it's written drashta.
Drashta, yeah. Not
Yeah, in the
drishta.
book.
Drashta.
Yeah, drashta, not drashta.
No, it's not Dirgha, drashta. The one who sees.
drashta.
The one who sees is drashta.
I think in Sanskrit it is
I'm
easy
only
to pronounce.
emphasizing it because to make it different from drishta.
There is a problem with transliteration. And you put, so sometimes it's better to use Sanskrit Devanagari script for these things. I don't know why Swamiji preferred to use the transliteration thing. Transliteration always confuses.
No, I heard Swamiji said drashta, so I thought maybe there is a.
No.
Drashta, yes. So therefore, the Chaitanyam Aham Asmi, Chaitanya Rupena Aham Sada Asmi. Both when I think of time and when I don't think of time, I'm always there. That is the real meaning of Sada. There is no other meaning for it. It doesn't come under Kala, meaning within the scope of Kala, and thereby Kala avachinnatvam is not there for Sada. Kala avachinnatvam means qualified by time. An existent object is what we call a Kala avachinna vishaya. Kala avachinna vishaya means an existent object. What is there? When you say that anything is existent, that means it is within time. Here the vastu is not existent in that sense. It is not within time. The very kala is existent depending upon existence. And that existence is the vastu. That is the adhishtanam. Therefore, kalasyapi adhishtanatvat sada
Adhishtanatvat. Being the
adhishtanatvat
adhishtanam for kala also.
kalasyapi adhishtanatvat sada aham asmi.
Therefore, the adhishtanam for kala is also I only. That I sada aham asmi. That is explaining the meaning of the word sada.
Here, Swamiji has clearly negated, saying don't bring it under the gambit of Kala itself. The Sada doesn't come under the definition of Kala. So he has lock, stock, and barrel. He has thrown away Kala.
Correct. This is, we've been discussing this often in various classes also. Anything that you take that we know of in the Jagat has dvandva. There is one end, you can call it positive, and other end negative, and there's a whole lot in between. This vastu that we're talking about is nowhere in that scale at all. That scale itself is dependent upon this vastu. This applies also for time.
Like begging the question.
Present, future.
like begging the question.
Ignorance and knowledge. It applies for sukha and dukha. It applies for everything. All these labha, everything is mithya, jagat only. That which is the adhisthana for all of them, that because of which these all have their existence. Sukha has an existence, dukha has an existence, labha has an existence, alabha has an existence. Everything is because that vastu which lends existence to all of them. The sukha that we know in the jagat is the relative sukha because it's a relative scale. You measure it in asukha, pain and pleasure. All of them are within this mithya jagat. And their existence is dependent upon that vastu. Yeah.
Kalasyapi adhishtanatvat sada aham asmi. How do you know sada aham asmi? Sada aham bhami. So that effulgent. I shine on my own. Swasiddham. So sada aham asmi kalasyapi adhishtanatvat sadvastu aham asmi. And this sadvastu alone is predicated as you tatvam asi iti. And with reference to that sadvastu, it is said tad aikshata, which means that vastu is also jnanam. Otherwise, that kind of aikshanam before shrishti.
Ikshanam. There is aikshata, that which.
Ikshanam, okay. It's ikshanam before shrishti. Jagat shrishtehe prak yad ikshanam asti on the part of sadvastu is not possible.
Swamiji, what is the ikshata?
The seeing.
The actual process of seeing that. The sighting of that thing.
Swamiji?
That he.
Swamiji, I couldn't also understand the statement which says that kind of ikshanam before srishti, jagat srishtehe prak yad ikshanam asti on the part of sadvastu is not possible.
I'm also trying to read that.
Sadvastu is Chaitanyam. Sadvastu Chaitanyam is everybody is aware.
The way the ikshanam before srishti, okay, because he said no, that aikshata is past tense. Having other places we say that prabhishat. The whole existence of this is because of the adhishtanam, which in different ways they use, aikshata, pravishyata. These are all action words. And they imply, I think only thing that he's trying to prove here is that they imply chaitanyam. That because of the chaitanyam, the whole jagat is. So when that, otherwise that kind of ikshanam before shrishti, if there is no way of, if that sadvastu is not that was not there, aikshata, or tat pravishata, without that, there can be no jagat.
But how is it like slightly different from saying it is sat? Swamiji, like,
No,
because
I'm saying, if this were not so, if sadvastu was not the basis, otherwise, that is what it means, else, that kind of ikshanam before shrishti, jagat srishti prak yad ikshanam asti, on the part of the sadvastu, was not possible. It is only because of the ikshanam that you get jagat. Let's leave this for a moment. It's too intricate. I will also read this again. He is only trying to prove that sadvastu is chaitanya. Because he's trying to show that, I think, from aham sada asmi, sada bhami. From there he's taken, showing that this is, we can read that again.
Like there cannot be any kriya in jada vastu, is it?
I'm sorry, come again?
Like there cannot be any kriya in jada vastu.
No, there are jada vastu in the jagat, no?
No, but they cannot do kriya by themselves.
They can be?
They cannot do any action by themselves.
They cannot do any action. No, even the so-called Chaitanya Vastu can't do anything by itself. None of our senses or indriyas will operate without sadvastu.
Aprameya.
We will read this. Let's continue the reading, see if there's greater clarification. Otherwise, we will go back to this to read. Yeah.
That ikshanam being there, the sadvastu is chaitanyam.
That is what all is trying to show, that it is chaitanyam.
Chetanam also we cannot say. It is chaitanyam because nothing else is there at that time. Therefore, Sat is Chaitanya Vastu. Chit, and that's Sat Chit. Tvam Asi. You are Sat Chit Atma, Karana, etc. comes later. Here first we have to understand Atma is Satyam and it is Jnanam. In fact, without Satyam being Jnanam, there is no way of knowing Satyam. Why? Because if Satyam is known to you, it implies Vritti Jnanam. That implies Chaitanya. That implies consciousness, Atma. If Satyam is known to you, it becomes variable. It is not Satyam. Anything known is variable and therefore cannot be Satyam. Therefore, Satyam should be invariable. If it is invariable in all situations, that invariable Vastu can only be self-evident. It has got to be self-revealing. It should not be revealed by consciousness. In other words, it should be consciousness. What is self-revealing? What is present in every revelation, that is self-revealing. What is invariably present in every revelation of objects? Only consciousness. Invariably, what is present is, within quotes, is consciousness, isness. That is consciousness alone is present invariably. Therefore, whether it is Shabdam va, Rupam va, Sparsham va, Rasam va, Gandham va, in all of them, the invariable presence is only Chaitanya. Chaitanya is. That within quotes is goes on joining everything. Any object or thought is recognized as, within quotes, is. Even absence is recognized as absence of some existing thing. Absence of is. At least the thought of the object has to be to recognize its absence. When the thought of time occurs, within quote, time is. Time awareness is. When distance comes, distance is. When object comes, object is. Object bhati. Astitvena bhati. In that bhati, bha is consciousness. That is the same consciousness. Consciousness is what is consciousness. Therefore, sada aham bhami. Bhami when desha kala are there. And even when desha kala are not there, as it happens in sleep, I am still bhami. That is the meaning of sada aham bhami. Sada aham asmi. Therefore, sat. Sada aham bhami. Therefore, chit.
Okay. I think we'll stop here today. What I want you to do, all of you, is to read this paragraph again and see if it makes sense to you. We'll open it for discussions in the next class before we start the rest of the class. All he's trying to show is aham sada asmi, that he's tried to show by saying it is nothing to do with kala. And aham sada bhami, which means the easiness is the same Chaitanyam, consciousness. That consciousness is I. And that is trying to prove in this, this paragraph. So let's read it again. Then he will go on to talk about the third of it, which is kadachit na apriyamasmi. So Sat, Chit, Ananda, all the three he is taking as definition. Remember this much. when you're reading it also. The Sat that we think of as Lakshyartha is not the Vachyartha. The Chit is not the Vachyartha of the word Chaitanyam, Chit. Or also we call Jnanam. Ananda is not the Vachyartha of the word Ananda because all of them have their opposites. And that is how we understand it in the Jagat. What we are looking for is that which makes this both ends possible in all three cases. Time, existence, space, and Ananda. So please read them, and I'd like somebody to start the discussions in the next class on this paragraph.
Swamiji, this book is a transcript, right, from lectures?
Yes.
Like, it's very complicated. Like, I don't know how people were understanding it live.
But remember, as I told you in the beginning, this is people who have been doing Shravanam for quite a while. And I took the risk of starting this thing on the strength that many of you are already doing a lot of Shravanam. Some of you may not have had the exposure to Shravanam too much. But that's why this format, we're hoping that even those who have not had the exposure to Shravanam will be able to participate, will be able to ask questions, will be able to join the discussions. And hopefully, they will also get clarity. This is a Manana Grantha, usually taken much after everybody has done some amount of Shravanam of all the Upanishads. This complication that you're seeing, like the questions that you were asking about Kala, you take one step higher than that and look at Kala, look at each of these that he's going to be talking about, not from the perspective of the Jagat, but from the perspective of the Paramarthika Drishti. You will be able to see it slightly differently. Okay, before we close, one other quick announcement. I'm starting classes for some people in Brazil on chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita with Bhashyam. On the 16th, I'm starting that. 3:30 to 4:30 India time. I will try and finish the entire chapter. I'm starting only from verse 16 because somebody's already done 15 verses for them. So anybody who's interested and want to join, I'll post the details of this thing here. Anybody who wants to join is welcome to join.
Evening 3 or morning 3, Swami?
3:30 in the evening. 3:30 to 4:30.
Daily class?
Sorry?
Is it a daily class, Swamiji?
Daily class. Daily class, except for weekends, because weekends we have our own classes. I don't want to do weekends. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.